I'm Lonnell Williams, and welcome to 3LW TV. 3LW TV. For over 3 decades, I have been blessed to travel and stand in some amazing spaces. To witness firsthand our human family through various cultures and faces, I've experienced breathtaking and awe-inspiring destinations. I took the pictures, did the tours, bought souvenirs, shared it on social media posts, savoring all I can. But with so much discord and division in the world today, I have literally been overwhelmed. But I don't believe any of this happens in a vacuum. Everything has purpose. And I was in search of my purpose. How do I fit into this really crazy, intense picture? What is driving all of this? And that led me on this journey. August 25th, 2016. It was a very emotional morning. I happened to be in Charleston on business, and I had been toying around with the idea of visiting plantations, but, California boy, West Coast, that was not a priority. But this particular day I woke up, and actually, spirit or something woke me up and literally said, go. You need to go to this plantation now. Upon my arrival there, I couldn't necessarily track what it was, but there was definitely a presence. After the tour was complete, you had a little time to roam freely. And I literally found myself on a tree-lined lawn looking up to the big house. And I stood there, and I know this sounds crazy, but I could hear those trees calling people's names. After exploring the grounds, I took a long pause at a cemetery of the African ancestors. And I just stood there, and in reverence to all of those souls that labored, and I just stood there and I let those trees sing. I stood in the realization that I share the lineage of those who worked relentlessly building an entire nation under complete duress. Each and every one of those bricks were made by slaves. This house was constructed and built by slave labor. When I think about that, every time I see a brick, I get mad. One of the huge disconnects, I believe, is that we don't know the truth of our history, and those of us that do, we don't honor that truth. To stand here in this actual physical space where our ancestors thrived and died and sacrificed, that gives you a whole new perspective. I became obsessed with occupying the same spaces as these ancestors, and to stand there and hold them in complete reverence, where they toiled, bled, and sweat, the floors on which they slept. I'm just overcome with emotion. It's just so heavy, but not in a depressing sense. It's heavy that to actually stand in this space and to feel the energy, because I literally feel the energy of the enslaved Africans who lived here. Powerful. Wow. Imagine this is what separates you from freedom. A few hundred yards. To stand in this space and be able to say thank you for the ultimate sacrifice that our ancestors made so that we could enjoy many of the liberties that we have today in this country. We still have a long way to go. But understand none of this would be possible without the sacrifice of these blessed souls. Thank you. Thank you. I heard a transatlantic calling to the doorway of no return. I can't even talk about how, or describe how emotional it is, how you can still smell. They said they've tried to clean, but you can't get rid of the smell. The most moving part of that entire castle for me was the women's dungeon. And when you go to the women's dungeon, you actually walk down this long corridor, and then it kind of curves. You make a sharp left, and then you're in. There's 3 separate dungeons that kind of face a courtyard. And in these dungeons, I still think about how it's like 150 women, they said, in each of the dungeons, chained together again, lying in their own waste for up to 3 weeks at a time. It's just absolutely heartbreaking to think of how many of our mothers and grandmothers and great-grandmothers and great-great-greats endured this. And for me personally, when I closed my eyes, I could just hear the anguish of our foremothers. I could just hear the anguish. And the first time that I walked in, I was trying to document, and that energy was so powerful. It was like, fool, put that camera down and be in this moment. I stood in feelings of anger, pain, hurt, disbelief, sadness, resentment, face to face with a 500-year-old pain body. The trauma of enslavement transcends time and generations. It is an energy all around us that remains in the pathology of America's race relations today and embedded in our DNA. I was acknowledging this energy and the range of emotions and feelings that arose in each of the spaces where our enslaved ancestors stood. Wow, so many lives. What was initially dark and painful became liberating and empowering. Freedom from that pain body. They survived this. They survived this. Dearest beloved ancestors, what a privilege to address your spirit on this painful yet sacred faith. I'm Lonnell Williams, and as a proud descendant born on the other side of your tragedy, I have been able to return and to let you know that your lineage thrives amongst the relentless oppression. I've come today as one, but I stand as 10,000, to hold you in reverence, to assure you with honor that your sacrifice was not in vain. The more awareness that we have, the more power that we have. And the more power that we have, the less fear that we have. We got this. Be sure to subscribe to 3LW TV on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, Facebook,